Hey guys, how's it going? It's Alice. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over all of my favorite complexion products and like my complexion routine to get this beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, dewy in the right places but matte in the right places, and contoured and highlighted and blushy and gorgeous face routine for pale skin. You could certainly recreate the tips and techniques that I'm going to be going over if you have a different complexion shade or like a different skin tone. By all means, there's a lot of good tips and tricks in here, but I'm going to be going over specifically some favorite products and shades for pale skin because I feel like that was like my biggest thing coming into the, doing makeup and stuff like that, is like trying to find the right stuff that isn't going to make my pale ass skin look too dark or weird or too orange or like too pink or too yellow or whatever. So yeah, I'm going to be going over that and showing you how to get this flawless, beautiful, stunning, gorgeous complexion. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it. Before we do, if you guys like tutorials and if you like me, like, comment, and subscribe, turn on the bell, sell your soul. Anyway, we're gonna get into the motherfucking tutorial. Let's do it. Do you see this? Do you see all of that? It goes into my ass crack. I'm not even kidding. This is one of my favorite foundation primers. It is the Mercier Blurring Primer. I want you to see how it blurs my face. I'm very shiny right now because I moisturized and also just my lighting, but let's watch the shine go away, you guys. This is crazy. I actually didn't squeeze out enough. I need some for my forehead, but look at that. Look at that. My cheeks aren't like shiny anymore. I'm gonna do one half of my forehead so you can see this. I'm going for a blurring and mattifying primer, even though I want to look glowy and dewy today, because I don't want to actually be greasy. I want to look greasy using, using product, but I don't want my actual oils to get out of control. See that? Look at how, look, shine, 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 and then boom, it stops right there. How crazy is that? Oh, and my face feels so soft. I don't know how they make it so blurry, but it's pretty cool, huh? This would be so perfect for anybody who has super oily skin. I know that Mercier is kind of pricey, but I don't think they've made a product that I don't like. Moving on to something affordable. I'm still loving the Wet n Wild Dewy foundation. I also really like the Purely's Perfect Glow BB cream, but I've been using that so much. I want to switch back to this right now. I'm currently using the shade Rose Ivory. I like to buff my foundation in with a brush at first because it's just faster. This is a really good affordable one. Profusion Buffing Foundation FD1. It's dense. See that? This one from ColourPop is good too. F23. Sigma makes one that's a little pricier. The Flat Kabuki F80. So they're dense and they could be flat or round, but pretty dense. And that way you're not going to be getting a lot of brush strokes. But now I do want to go over this with a sponge really quick. So I'm going to moisten one up. So this is the Real Techniques sponge. I got it wet and now I'm just patting all over the place. When you get your sponge wet, make sure to squeeze out all the excess water. Sometimes I'll even dry it off with a towel a little bit because you don't want a shitload of water like just getting all over your foundation. Some concealers that I enjoy. My top favorite right now is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. I use the shade Fair Porcelain. I used to be a huge fan of Tarte Shape Tape, but it's like 20 bucks, right? For Shape Tape, I'm in the shade Fair. I also really like the Lock-It Concealer Cream by KVD Beauty. I have the shade L1 Neutral. This is great for, it's a little light, like it's pretty freaking light. So I like this specifically for strategically highlighting, not necessarily covering up dark circles, because if you go in with something like this on your dark circles, it's just gonna make them look ashy and grayish. And then this is another one that I just recently got, the Becca Ultimate Coverage Longwear Concealer. I have the shade Linen, and what I do like about this one is that it's thick and creamy, and it's hydrating. Like, it stays tacky and it layers well. The other day I felt like I needed to add a little bit more on top of a different concealer, actually. Yeah, I felt like I needed a little bit more brightening, and so I added this and it was like perfect. It's pretty thick though. I do like to highlight my chin. I like to put a little concealer right here because the smile lines. And then for my nose, I have a dip right there, so I like to highlight that part. Tip. And cat hair is on the concealer wand, of course. I just kind of highlight right here on my forehead too, right there in the middle. Now you can blend out with a sponge or a brush. I think for this particular formula, I'm gonna do sponge. The coverage really is there with this Becca one. It's crazy. And I just love that it's not too dry, because KVD, Shape Tape, and CoverGirl, these ones dry so fast, especially the CoverGirl one. Don't even take a breath before blending that shit out, because it'll dry and then you're stuck there with whatever shape that you drew. Next, let's move on to contour, cream contour. I love cream contour. This is the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer Stick in the shade Blaze. And I have been using this for eons now. It is so good. It's a cool tone bronzer. It's matte. It's not greasy. It's bomb, and I love that it's in a stick. Blends out really nicely. They have a lighter shade of this, but the reason why I went with the darker one is because I do feel like it's a little bit more cool tone. The lighter one I think is an actual like bronzer. I feel like this one's a little bit more of a contour. Next up, I am absolutely obsessed with the Inner Glow Cream Pigment by Ritual Defeat. It is in the shade Intuition. Look at this. If this isn't the perfect pale, like gray contour shade, then I think you might be blind. This is bomb. It's so light. It is perfect for nose contour because you want that to be a little softer. Next up, this is a drugstore item. Dun, 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 dun. Rimmel Stay Matte Concealer in the shade Espresso. Not crazy about it for concealer, and I don't think I really like the foundation either. I think I actually have a review on it. Might have called it like worst foundation ever. But the concealer is really good for contouring with. It's nice and cool, and I think I'll probably demo this one today because I just feel like it's a hidden gem, and who doesn't love drugstore? I do want to give these two an honorable mention. This is the Ofra Skin Sculpting Wand, and we have the shade Sunset and Dusk. They're both pretty pale. It's a very small amount of product. It's a whipped formula. It's nice though. They're nice, and you don't see these colors around all the time. I'm not trying to say that like pale people's colors are more important than other colors. I'm just trying to make this video helpful for people who are pale and they're searching for something that's gonna work for them. So these are nice light shades. But we're gonna demo this one. Let's do this. Oh, did I have a straight eyelash the whole time? Cool. For this particular product, a little bit goes a long way. And I like to do a brush just because it's faster and it spreads the product out. But look at that. You can see that it's not a very, I really don't think that this would be a very good concealer at all. Just the way that it shears out, I don't think that'd conceal anything, but it's great for a contour. And I'm putting the contour on my cheekbone, honey. You want to place it the bottom of like where your cheekbone actually pops out, and then blend up. You can blend down a little bit too if you want. And then placement for where you want to stop kind of depends, but usually it's like a 2-finger rule is when you stop the contour. And for the chin, I just kind of apply along the jawline right there, and then just kind of blend down. Cover up that chin, honey. Okay, let's get a little forehead action. Sometimes I go a little too ham with this, and then I'm like looking at footage and I'm just like, girl. And I don't think I have learned, and I don't think I will ever learn, but here we go. Oh, so the type of brush for contour, flat kabuki type brush. You can also pretty much just use your foundation brush to blend out your contour, honestly. Might even be better. You'll get a better blend. I like to tap instead of drag, because sometimes when you drag, you are removing product. So I'm a big believer in the tap. Okay, next, probably the most important part, according to me, is the nose contour. Going in directly with the doe foot can be tricky. Wipe off some of the excess. And the way I like to do my nose is draw a little line right there on the bottom, like that, as well as a small line on top. I've also been recently adding a little right where the brow turns into the nose. Just the way that my face shape works, this tends to work for me. As you notice, I try not to put any on the sides or in the middle, because there is a little bump. Contour can kind of sometimes accentuate that. Now, for blending, I like to use a small kabuki type brush. This is Sephora collection by Milk. This one was limited edition, so I don't think it's available anymore. But you could actually, you could use just a regular, kind of maybe like a little bit more densely packed eyeshadow brush. Just make sure that there's no powder on it. So now, the most important thing with your nose contour is blend outwards, away from the tip. In this case, the bottom part, you're gonna blend down. For this middle part here, you're gonna blend back. Once the product has started to kind of blend away into the foundation, I'll curve around on the sides a little bit, as well as gently just kind of bring it further back, higher and higher up the nose. And now for this part, I'm just gonna blend down towards my eye, as well as up a little bit. Try to keep the middle area empty. Bada bing. Might look a little weird right now, but we're gonna add powder in a moment, and it is going to lighten that and make it look a little bit more natural. But before we can do powder, honey, we gotta do cream blush. So I have a few cream blush options that I'm just gonna go over really quickly. First, where did I get this from? Oh my god, I can't remember. This is the Cushion Tint Lip and Cheek by McQueen New York. Style Vanna, that's what it was, Style Vanna. It's like this gorgeous moussey texture. It's so pigmented, but it blends out into beautiful sheer, buildable, and it's matte-ish. It doesn't feel, I don't feel like it takes away from my foundation at all. I don't feel like it makes me greasy. This is in the shade GL001. Moving on to another affordable item. ColourPop makes blush sticks. They're really nice, and honestly the packaging is quite nice. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It feels like a lot more expensive than a ColourPop item, but I really like the ColourPop blush sticks. This one's called Pretty Thing. Love it. Visual Diffuse cream blushes are beautiful and amazing. This is Bee Sting and this is Blood Flower. It looks really dark, but it blends out beautifully. My absolute favorite is this bad boy right here. Probably also the most expensive, but you buy this palette and I don't really see why you would need to buy any more cream blush. This is by Davina Cosmetics. It is the Velvet Lip and Cheek palette, and look at that, it comes with several shades, so you can kind of just decide what you want to go with, which is perfect for me because I feel like I can be pretty indecisive, and when I see when I'm going with undertones, I like to match usually like whatever eyeshadow or like lip or highlight with my blush. And some days I'm feeling pink, some days I'm feeling coral, sometimes I'm feeling mauve. And I just love that you can like mix and match too. And it comes with a little cream bronzer in there. So what I'm gonna do is mix berry and guava. And for my face personally, I like to put blush right on the apple of my cheek. I like to look a little bit more dolly-like, a little bit more youthful. This is a ColourPop F24. And as you can see, once again, I'm doing the pat. Pat, pat, pat. My favorite thing to do lately is add some blush across the nose. I feel like for me it makes me look a little youthful, a little sun-kissed, and there you have it. Now this may come as a surprise because I'm pretty into cream contour and cream blush. I am not a cream highlight kind of bitch. Maybe I just haven't found one that I absolutely love, but I feel like because I like setting my face with powder, the powder gets on the cream highlight and then, or like the liquid highlight, and it just defeats the purpose. It gets chunky or like just ashy, dusty. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on from that and do powder. Next, we gotta set this bitch. For the longest time, the OG holy grail for me has been the RCMA No Color Powder. It's very affordable, it sets your face, it doesn't add any color to it. It is perfect for pale people because sometimes translucent setting powder does have a color, and when you're pale, you know, just that tiny little bit of like a pink or a yellow tint can totally throw everything off, in my opinion. So I love RCMA No Color Powder. It's been my favorite for a really long time. Another cheap one, this is by AOA Studio. So from shopmercier.com. Everything on Shop Mercier is $1. I think AOA Studio might be a little bit more, but not much. This stuff is bomb, and it is very similar to RCMA No Color Powder, only I think it's like a little bit more thin and a little bit less like velvety. Laura Mercier's translucent powder is really nice, but it gives me a little bit of a yellow cast. I'm waiting for them to come out with like a no color translucent powder, or even like a slightly pink one. This is a pressed powder. This is the Stay Naked The Fix powder by Urban Decay. I have the shade 10NN. This stuff is amazing. It does have a little bit of a yellow tint to it, but it's perfect for when I just need to get in and really highlight my under eyes, like right there. It's perfect for that. I'll usually kind of maybe add this at the end of everything if I went a little too ham with the blush, and or maybe if I got some like fallout or something like that. This always saves the day. But we gotta talk about my favorite one, bitch. This is the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. Truly the most beautiful setting powder ever, and if it ever gets discontinued, I'm gonna be furious. There is something about it. It has this beautiful matte, but not too dry, not chalky. It gives you a little bit of pigment, but it's like no pigment. It gives you coverage, but there's no pigment. Like off-white, like if you go to the paint store or whatever and it's like, oh, this one's like eggshell or something. I don't know. I can't say enough amazing things about this powder. It is truly the bomb. I like to use a brush sometimes. I know a lot of people bake with their powders. I used to do that. I will do that sometimes, but my under eyes, honey, are getting a little agey, And when I go in there with a beauty blender or a sponge and I'm just shoving the powder on there, I feel like sometimes it doesn't get into my nooks and crannies. So first of all, blend out all of your concealer. Second of all, I like using little brushes like this, tapered, perfect. This is the Sigma tapered highlighter brush, but I just like to do a little of that right there. Set the under eye, just bada bing. And this way it's like targeted, and you don't have to worry about like if you didn't want to set the rest of your face, like maybe if you know you're gonna be dry or you're not gonna be sweating too much that day and you only want to set the under eyes. Boom, boom, boom. It's perfect. And just look how like it mattifies and almost like blurs. I can't say enough good things about this setting powder. My other favorite powder brush is this one by ColourPop, the F18. It's so big and so fluffy, and I just get it in there, and it's so soft it feels like I'm literally just doing my makeup with my cat's tail. And it perfectly just applies just the right amount to the face, just to take away a little bit of that shine, take a little bit of that tackiness away, but you don't feel dry. Not sure why I have so many powder brushes when I literally only need 2, but next up we are going to do highlight. That's right. Oh man, the amount of highlighters that I really love. Shit. This is gonna be tough. I love a loose highlighter, and Wet n Wild makes some really bomb loose highlighters. They're affordable. This is the shade I'm So Lit. It is a pale champagne-y kind of gold. It's really, really like nice, light and neutral, and it has a bright white blinding cast. I think I need to use it. It's been a while since I used it because I've just been trying so many other things, but I gotta get in there. And let me go over the brush that I'm absolutely obsessed with for highlight right now. Is the Flat Setting Powder by Profusion, the PD5. Dip into it, tap out the excess, and yeah, wow. It's been a while since I used this. That is beautiful. I like to just rub that all over the side here, get it up under the brow, sides of the temples. I get it on the apples of my cheeks too, so that you see that little kind of like, I think that's really cute. It makes you look nice and juicy. Forehead is a good place to highlight too. You're probably like, well, why did you set your whole face if you're just gonna add shine back? This is like a controlled shine. We can put it where we want it to go. Don't put it where you don't want it to go. So, I mean, a little on the chin. Might have been a little too much. So you want to put a little on the chin, not too much, because you don't want it to look like butter is dripping down your chin. Cupid's bow. You don't want to go like this on your Cupid's bow. Brush it down. If you go like that, it's like it's just going to be fluttering everywhere. I like to just brush down. Once you've got all of that under control, now you're going to want to grab a flat brush like this. So like maybe like a concealer brush or something tiny. And we're gonna dip in and do just the tip of the nose. See that? The tiniest little bit. You can also use your finger. You just want to do the tip of the nose. If you spread that around with a bigger brush, you're gonna end up highlighting the entire tip of your nose, and it's gonna defeat the purpose of the contour. By just hitting the tiniest little bit, and maybe even drag it back a little bit so that it doesn't drag down and get on the lower part of the tip, it's crucial for me. Next, I just do a little bit right here. It just kind of brings out that dip in my nose. We're gonna accentuate the eyebrows by tapping a little bit under the highest part of the arch. See that? And on the other side. Last but definitely not least, I like to pop it in my inner corner. I just like all of my highlight to match, and the inner corner highlight, it's perfect and it's effortless to just have it be matching the rest of your highlight. Bada bing, right there, honey. Boom. I want to go over some of my other favorite highlighters though. Davina Cosmetics makes some amazing highlighters. I put them in this Z palette here, but as you can kind of see them right there, there's a ton of different like textures and undertones. They have some that are really like finely milled and pressed, that have like a duochrome aspect to it. This one right here, Dust, is so blinding and stunning and beautiful. And then what's this one? Damn. I mean, and then this one, OMG. They're so glittery and stunning. So if you need a pale highlighter that isn't going to give you a dark cast, I would definitely check them out. I have a code with them, which is just Alice. So I'm going to go over some of my favorite powder blushes next. These are by Wet n Wild. They're the Color Icon blushes. This is the shade Apricot in the middle, and this is the shade Mellow Wine. I've used these for so long and I still didn't even hit pan. They're pigmented, they're cheap, they're beautiful, and I love a peachy blush. This one has a little bit of kind of glittery shimmer in it. This one is just absolutely perfect for when you want to do like a more orangey blush. Next up, this is an indie brand, Lovecraft Beauty. This is one of my absolute favorite blush palettes. Beautiful packaging, and these shades are so stunning, so perfect. I just love being able to reach for this palette, and no matter what kind of like vibe I'm going for that day, like I know I'm gonna be able to have one in there. Last but not least, Laura Mercier makes some of the most beautiful blush shades that money can buy. I know that it's a little bit more luxury, but beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, right? So I think this one, Rosé, is gonna be perfect. And I like to go in with something like this for blush. This is the small tapered powder brush. You just pick some product up. Sometimes I like to get kind of close to my lower lash line with my blush, so I like a little bit of a smaller brush like that. And I'm actually scrubbing back and forth with this. Not sure why blush is like the one thing that I don't do the pat with, but I mean, there you have it. And you can see that the highlighter is still shining through the blush, but it tones down a little bit of the highlight that was on the apples of the cheeks. Stunning. Last but not least, you guys, I always touch up my powder contour because after all of the shit, sometimes I feel like I need to add a teensy bit more contour. My all-time favorite contour palette is by Lunatic Cosmetics Labs. It is the Contour Book Volume 1. I rearranged some of the pots in here, so it might look a little different, but these cool tones right here are just invaluable to me. I've used them so much, and I'm nowhere near hitting pan. Take a flat type of shader brush like this and just kind of reinforce the contour on the tip of the nose just a little bit. I'll go in with like a angled, I mean, this is a contour brush basically, and I'll add a little bit more on my forehead, leaning more towards like around the middle part of the forehead just to size it down a little bit. If I need to, I'll do a little extra under the cheekbones. The concealer that we used for contour today was pretty pigmented, so I don't need to add too much more, but I love these cool tone shades because I mean they bring a little bit more cool tone back into it, and it's so hard to find cool tone contours. So Profusion Cosmetics makes shockingly good contour shades. I have some really old palettes that I got back at Fry's, and that's where I discovered Profusion, and this was so long ago, and I emailed them and I was like, hey, you know, I used some of your products, like really liked them, and they were like one of the first brands to send me PR. So anyway, this is one of their contour palettes, and as you can see, these are nice cool tone shades. If you need a cool tone contour shades for pale skin and you don't want to break the bank, definitely check out Profusion. Alright guys, so I added a lip and some eyeshadow and shit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to get my basic, beautiful, stunning, gorgeous complexion routine for pale skin. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I appreciate you watching so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!